What's your favorite question to ask someone to get to know them better? Someone I know took a psych test for a work application and one of the questions was, do you look at your poo before you flush? He asked us around the office and it was funny how divided we were and how passionate we all were about our reasoning. I often think about that. What's the most obscure fact you know that would make you win on Jeopardy? There are 3 wishes. If I gave you the money to set up a theme restaurant or bar, what would be the theme? What would you call the establishment? What would be the signature cocktail? I asked my students today what is their biggest fear. They each wrote their answer on a post-it note anonymously and didn't see other answers until they were all on the board. It was hilarious how many of them answered, my mom. Edit. Since everyone is so concerned, these are a bunch of high schoolers trying to be funny. Also, as a teacher I am trained to recognize signs of abuse. I assure you these kids are fine. What's your favorite part about waking up? What are you really terrible at? I like to ask people if they have any really good ghost stories. Depending on their religion or culture or upbringing, I've heard some pretty awesome experiences. Particularly from NYC cab drivers. What are you sure you know more about than me? This one checks tons of boxes like starting a topic, getting more insight to their interests, having them talk about a topic they are passionate about, you learning a ton of stuff, and much more. Just pretty dumb when they say, I don't lol. My 29-year-old special needs daughter has a list she likes to use. What is your favorite reptile? What is your favorite fighter jet? What is your favorite bird of prey? What is your favorite dinosaur? What is your favorite venomous snake? The thing is though, she doesn't actually care about your answers. She just wants you to ask her her favorites so she can trap you in a one-sided conversation for the rest of your natural life. People fall for it every time. Oh, and in case you are wondering, the correct answers are crocodile, F-14 tomcat, wedge-tailed eagle, Spinosaurus, black mamba. Giving her the correct answers won't get you out of the conversation, but it will save you the lecture on how wrong you are. How did you got into asterisk insert any passions, hobbies asterisk? If you could only eat one type of cheese for the rest of your life, which type of cheese would it be? I'd borrow from David Sedaris and go with, when's the last time you saw a monkey? What is one thing you wish people knew about you? It often leads to sincere responses or something they are passionate about. Pets are a good one. If they don't have any pets, ask them what pet they would want, or any childhood, old pets. It's personal, but not too personal. Also, people love talking about their pets. If you'd want me to know only one fact about you, what would it be? It started a lot of interesting convos over the years. What's your walk-up song? What's your death row meal? All you need to know right there. Their views on entertainment is always safe territory. Movies, music, etc. I usually go for open-ended questions. My favorite is, what's the coolest place you've taken that pair of shoes? Asterisk. What are your most visited subreddits? Asterisk. Their answer could easily end a relationship before it even begins. Tell me something I don't know. Not a question, but the topic they go for can say a lot about them. Do they tell you about themselves, someone else, or something else? Then you can ask why, how they know that, or if they're particularly interested in the topic of whatever they've told you about. It's a great conversation starter, no matter if you've just met or known them forever. And if you do already know what they've told you, you can talk about your shared knowledge, interest. What do you dream about? I use 2. 1. What is your everyday superpower? I.e. my so always gets amazing parking. Always picking the fastest line at the supermarket 2. What's in the trunk of your car right now? This leads to hilarious answers in my experience. Not a question, but more of an icebreaker game. It's called Make It or Break It. So basically, picture your perfect match. This person is personally perfect for you in every way possible. Like you would marry them on the spot. So they're perfect for you in every way except I name one thing about them that makes them not perfect for you, and you have to say whether that would be a deal breaker. Does it make it or break it? So here's a few examples. Make it or break it. They're perfect for you in every way except they always wear the color green. They will never not wear the color green. Different shades of green are fine, but every single piece of clothing they will ever wear for the rest of their lives will be at least 95% green. Even at like funerals. Make it or break it, they only eat pizza ever. Make it or break it, they will never drink. Make it or break it, for one day once a month, every month on the exact same day, they leave town for the whole day. But they never tell you where they're going or what they're doing, and they never will. If you ask them about it, they say, "You just have to trust me." If you try to sneak and find out what they do every month, bam, relationship over, you're dead to them. Make it or break it, whatever they eat, they drown the whole thing in ketchup, and they always will. Even ice cream. They carry around a little travel ketchup bottle just in case they eat at a place without ketchup. They'll never change. Make it or break it, they hate animals. NSFW. Make it or break it, they've sucked 500 dicks. Make it or break it, they want an open relationship. Make it or break it. Whatever thing you're most passionate about, no matter how hard you practice at it, they will always naturally be better than you. Bonus. And they don't really even care about the thing they're good at, it's just kinda meh to them. These are examples of come up with collectively over time while playing with people. They can be serious or goofy scenarios and you can play with anyone. It's a super fun game that you can pull out anytime it starts to get awkward, and eventually you and the person are going back and forth coming up with new make it or break it scenarios. A nice bonus is that if you're flirting with someone, you can gauge what they're looking for in a relationship and sort of test your chemistry, compatibility. Did you see that story about less than insert crazy non-political current event here greater than? For example, did you see that crazy story about that guy getting swallowed by a whale and living? What's your oldest memory? The answer to the question by itself may actually not reveal a lot, but usually it gets people talking about their childhood, or at the very least the happier parts of it. Depends on the purpose of getting to know them. If I want to know them well on a personal level and decide if I want to continue knowing them, I might ask something a little more personal, like about past relationships or what they like to do for fun. Honestly though, I often just pay a lot of attention to how they interact with me and others, and their answers to others. Asking. What's your favorite question to ask someone to get to know them better? Do you like chicken nuggets with or without crust? Maybe not first chat. Maybe not a colleague, but here it goes. Would you rather fornicate with a goat and no one know about, or not fornicate with the goat and the world is convinced that you did? Gets right to the core. If you could reshoot any film, shot for shot with the cast of the Looney Tunes, which film should you pick? I had an employee who was an oddball of the first order. Just coasting along, enjoying what I can only describe as a superlatively charmed existence. For instance, he was in his mid-20s, living in NYC, and had somehow avoided ever paying a nickel in rent. Like not once in his life. I personally witnessed him not only refuse to pay his landlord for 6 months, but also walk away with $3,000 compensation when the matter went to court. From there he ended up in a free pad provided by a real estate broker who hired him on the spot while he was looking for an apartment. Seriously, I've never seen anyone so consistently fall ass first into a basket of rose petals as this dude. But that's about the time I lost contact with him because he went full-time into real estate brokerage. Which was just as well, because he wasn't really a very good employee. He wasn't dangerously incompetent or anything, just kind of slow and lacking any sense of hustle. I kept him on just because he was so entertaining and had this ability to keep everyone else's morale up. We called him the Jam Burner, because he would fixate on certain bands, and play these really badass tunes, but play them so frequently that everyone would be completely burned out by the time his focus shifted. Anyway, he would go around asking these asinine questions of everyone, as though he was conducting a Heather's poll. What's your favorite animal? What's your second favorite animal? What's your favorite body of water? How would you describe it? Would you rather have a yacht or a sport car? Would you rather have an asshole on your elbow, or an elbow on your asshole? He had graduated college with a psychology degree, so I was aware that he was just probing us all, but I like to think I actually learned a lot about myself from his inquiries. I often think about him warmly. I hope you're doing well, Will, you mystifying, jam-burning leech. If you were a guest on a late-night talk show, what story would you tell? I went to a music outing with this girl I recently started seeing and her friend was ditched, so we said that he could join us. When trying to get to each other better, he asked me what my favorite breakfast food was. We had a solid 15-minute conversation about French toast and different toppings and how an egg should be prepared depending on how you had spent your previous evening. Great icebreaker. ASL. As weak as it sounds, what are the 3 things you most like to get asked about, is great in a pinch, because you can either delve into them, or why they're such a favorite. Also lets the other person set the tone of the convo, whether light and surface, or deep and personal, or anywhere in between. Is cereal a soup? What's the most useless piece of information you know and how did you learn it? Do you sleep with socks on, and if yes, how many people have you murdered? Tell me about the pets you have had. Technically not a question, but you will get a wide variety of responses that tell you a lot about them as a person, empathy, possibly fitness. Or they could say owning pets is a crime against nature, and that is really all you need to know about them. The trusty 4, religion, abortion, politics, and economics. You can remember them with the handy acronym, RAPE. What's your favorite Muppet and why? It establishes that they are old enough to know what Muppets are, that they have a sense of humor, and standard answers like Animal and Statler and Waldorf can be segued into how about Muppets in Dark Crystal, Labyrinth or Sesame Street. This typically gets into favorite childhood things, and sometimes their thoughts on education and diversity etc. Also Cookie Monster and Count Von Count for the win. I'm a therapist. In my first session with patients, my first question, after I go over paperwork with them, is, where would you like to start? I always get excited when I ask that, because I'm about to be invited into someone else's inner world, and it is so profound and precious. If you had to murder someone, who would it be and where would you hide the body? What is something you're proud of but don't get to brag about much? Edit. Spelling asterisk. Favorite childhood memory. I like to ask what people's favorite food is. Even as a complete non sequitur, it's a good conversation starter. Everyone has a favorite food. It's innocent but very personal and there's usually a story or insight into their background, culture behind it. Man, reading all these questions is making me feel like I'd be terrible to hang out with for y'all. All I have for most of these is non-answers and that doesn't interest me at all. What do you like to read? What is something you can rant about for 10 uninterrupted minutes and still have more to say? How far have you gone north, south, east and west from where you were born? Answer the trolley problem. A trolley is moving down a track at very high speed. If you do nothing, it will hit 6 construction workers. On the other track, there is 1 construction worker. Only you can pull the switch to divert the tracks. Do you do nothing and allow 6 to die, or divert the track and actively kill the 1 worker? As an introvert, asking these questions strikes fear into me. But having these questions asked to me, that would put a smile on my face and possibly have me talking for ages. Definitely asking them about their favorite band, music is ATM. Ford family, occupation, recreation, dreams. You wake up Saturday morning with absolutely nothing you have to do. Money is no issue, and you have all weekend free. What do you do with the next 36 hours? What would you do? Then follow up with some kind of situation or scenario. Popular choices I like to lead with include winning the lottery, fighting an army of 6-year-olds, finding something valuable. If you want to know something specific about their line of thinking about certain subjects, just ask about something related to what you're curious about. General knowledge should be left to vague situations, where they have the most freedom to think about their choices. Winning the lottery is such a cheap way to understand someone, and it's incredibly invasive to their psyche that most people won't even realize how much information they give away. 1. Pay attention to their body language. Pauses or shifty eyes, changes in vocal tones or weight distribution. Anything that induces changes in body language can tell you a lot about them. Moving around can indicate that they are uncomfortable, or that they are excited. If they don't answer right away and start looking around, or at the very least look away from you, could indicate they don't normally think about this and you caught them off guard. And for learning about them, This is good. They would be less likely to intentionally lie or tell a false truth. 2. Pay attention to their answer. What is their priority? Do they buy a house? Party? Quit their job? What kind of house do they buy? How big and lavish is it? What are some special things they say they might buy? The order of which they buy things can tell you a lot about their ideas of priority. Homes are good indicators that the person thinks at least a little about the long term, since a home is a big investment and usually a one-off thing. If they look to buy big, expensive homes or cars, you can rest assured that they do not concern themselves with long-term costs, or how they will maintain this new lifestyle. Since it's all hypothetical to begin with, don't try to justify their answers because it's possible that their ideal self would do this, but if it actually happened, they might do things differently or not at all. Overall, it's a fun, what if question. And what if questions are excellent at being able to open people up to discuss things that they otherwise might not. And the more they talk about these scenarios, the more information they give away without even realizing it. What are you passionate about? Would you like to know the date of your death? Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. What do you want to be when you grow up? Regardless of age, this opens up many thoughts. I think most people never feel grown up. We always aspire to be the thing we wanted to be in childhood. Maybe we didn't make it, but we can still be defined to an extent by what we wanted to be. Who's the artist you've listened to the most in the past month? Easier to answer than who's your favorite artist. 2 truths and a lie. If your hands were muffins, what kind would they be? And would you eat them? What is a topic you could talk about for hours? Have you read any good books recently? Oddly, this makes people really excited about a book they are reading or sad that they haven't read one lately. What is your favorite video game? Edit. Mine is Persona 5 Royal. What are your thoughts on pickles, mustard, garlic, onion, and sauerkraut? If they answer in the negative, we can't be friends. I have lenience towards the sauerkraut since not everyone where I live grew up with it like I did. Would you rather drink Pepsi or Coca-Cola? If they say Pepsi, I make a mental note to stay the fuck away from this lunatic. What's the best thing that happened to you today? What's your mother's maiden name? The name of your first pet? The name of the first street you lived in, IP address, social security number and your criminal record. Thanks for watching. See you later.